No, our transportation thing is not good. So the next generation car is gonna be like this. This car can carry about 300 people. Just tall legs,
Okay.
and then when it wants to walk, it can
So I
walk.
can start? Okay.
Yes.
Help. Oh, it's working. Ah. It is. Hello, guys. Hello, guys. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think we're ready to start. So I'm going to start introducing myself, and I'm going to pass the microphone so you guys can introduce yourselves, okay? So my name is Sara. I was born in Brazil and I still live there. And right now I'm studying book clubs as a form of Quilombo. And the base of my research is Beatriz Nascimento's work. And yesterday we did a reading club, a round reading club, where we read some excerpts of her book. This one here, The Dialectic is in the Sea. And today we're going to work with a memory-based activity. I'd like you guys to tell me your name, a good thing that happened in your week. Is that okay? Okay.
Oh, my name is Chad. A good thing that happened in this week. Let me think. Can I pass and come back? Or I got yeah, I'll pass.
I mean, you can tell us about that chick that was with you last night. It's okay.
Jerusalem, there's the mic, pass it that side.
Something that happened positive. I'm trying to think.
You don't have to invent it. You don't know positive, then indulge with your negative vibration.
Say a bad thing.
Yeah,
You're allowed to
it's democratic, yeah. You
I don't know.
call it
Everything
your
is
misery.
neutral, not bad or good. I woke up this morning. I think that's a good thing. Yep.
You woke up miserably or?
No, I woke up good. Not as miserable
Good,
as
that's positive.
usual. Yeah.
In America, that's positive. You wake up, okay?
Okay, to me, what good thing happened to me last week was the whole. Oh, my name is Emmanuel Hadis, and I ran a chess tournament in this book and video cafe. I expected 5 to 10 people. To my surprise, 15 people came, and I was so happy. And that is an excellent, and it went smooth. We were playing upstairs on our back. It was so sunny, that warm, very hot. But they resisted and did a good job, and I was so happy. That is a good thing, what happened to me last week, for me, or last week.
Hello, my name is Dee. Thank you, Sarah. It's a pleasure to meet all of you. A good thing that happened to me this week, I got to be here. This is pretty cool. Can't remember the last time I was in a bookstore. This is nice. So, this is awesome. This is my good thing.
Hi, my name is Mike. This week, as always, I did a lot of activities with my drumming group, and they're good friends, and so that was a lot of fun.
Hi, I'm Jerusalem. Good thing that happened this because I had dinner with my Sankofa family. That was really nice.
Hi, my name is Matthew. Good thing that happened to me this week. The morning, I decided to get coffee, and it was pretty good. So that was nice. That was nice.
Coffee?
Yeah, I got coffee.
Brazilian?
No, it was, I don't know.
Okay.
It might have been.
Ethiopian.
I don't know.
Hello, my name is Naher. A good thing that happened to me this week is my brother is moving, which is not the good thing, but in the process of helping him move, I found like my record player, all my records underneath his jeans. So I'm really happy about that.
You moving him out of your mother's house and you're happy?
He didn't, my records. My records were discovered.
Your music, your own music?
Exactly. That no one could find.
No,
because
she
of all
didn't make
his
the music.
jeans.
She
Oh, no, I didn't make the music.
That's amazing. Nice meeting you guys. So today we're going to do a memory-based activity in which I would like you guys to write, draw, or tell a story and a memory about a black woman that was remarkable in your life. And I would like something personal, like mothers, grandmothers, friends, and a woman that you guys admire and would like the world to know. For example, for me, that woman is my sister. And to get us inspired, I start to read what Beatriz Nascimento's daughter, wrote in her biography, okay? So this is the book, and is one of the first pages. I first knew Beatriz Nascimento as my mother, Mamãe, simply a beautiful black woman with whom I identified. She taught me so much about being a black girl born in Brazil. She shaped me to be positive, to love my skin, my people, my culture, and to love the African diaspora. I came to understand the African continent as the mother of diversity, and my homeland, Brazil, as one of its children. As the African continent was to Brazil, so was my mother to me. My father was African, from Cape Verde, and my mother made me a proud and assured black Brazilian African woman. She traveled to Africa and the Caribbean, and she never let me doubt my identity, my African heritage, and my strength, passed to me from my ancestor, including her. Today, I translate my mother's work and legacy to fulfill my dream of bringing her to the world and to African diaspora. Through the work on this book, I have reunited with my mother, and I have found myself. But I also believe that others can find in it the beauty of our history, our soul, and our activism. It's not just because she's my mother. I believe the work of this amazing woman can show us part of our history. I fulfill, too, the wishes from her Ori, that never cease to enlighten us to a better understanding of who we are as Africans, who we were labeled as products in the market that I, Betania, will always call a Holocaust. We are the living bodies of Quilombo. We will shape the African diaspora in the world into a new chapter, into a better human life and a better future in the cosmic hands of Beatriz Nascimento. Beatriz Nascimento lives. Axé. So this is the activity. You guys can start like drawing your memory and what you feel, and then we're going to talk about the woman that you choose, and you guys are going to present her. I'm excited.
There's a pen. My brother. You're supposed to use this colorful pen. Crayon. Crayons. You can write. I thought you said you can write. Yeah, you can write with a crayon.
So for those who want to write, I have pens. more pen.
More pen from Brazil.
Some of them are from.
Like it went under the base of the table. That's all right.
What was it? What was it?
It like went under. Like
Okay.
here,
Okay,
it's fine.
leave it.
Timothy. Timothy.
We're about to play other games.
Me neither, it's okay.
So guys, how you guys going? Okay. It's been good activity. Are you guys liking? Who already finished the activity? Amazing. I did finish too, but I think that would be nicer if everyone had finished. If we wait until everyone finish. Okay. Take your time, guys. Creativity takes time. But I think we would like to hear it, and then we continue. Okay. You have a microphone there? I can pass this one.
So the person, the woman, the black woman that I'd like all of you, I guess maybe to be introduced to is my grandmother, whose name amongst her children, but not her grandchildren, was Medea, which is short for Mother Dear, Medea. So I wrote an inspiration and a beloved figure. Grandmother was both. She is a towering figure in our family, primarily because most of us are short. She was taller than my grandfather, so she towered over him. She was born and raised in Bessemer, Alabama, and moved to Livingston, Alabama to farm with my grandfather. She was feminine, determined, humorous, evolving, and beloved. Over the course of her life, she brought 14 souls to this earth and buried 3 before she passed. I remember her curiosity and her determination. She loved to be stylish and was so talented. Her daughters revered her and rebelled against her. She could be generous and occasionally petty, which made her humanity real to me, showing me that life is really a journey. She's got a river and a sunset and grass with measles. So there we go.
Thank you so much for sharing. What a beautiful story. So in this book, Beatriz also writes about her grandmother. It's a text that she calls The Great Lost. And she talks about her life with her grandmother and after her death, and how was like a great loss in her life. So, yeah.
So when I thought about this, I kind of thought as an adult I have black women friends, but growing up, like thinking far past an influence, I didn't. And then I stopped and said, wait a minute, I never really think about elementary school. And I thought about going to elementary school in Arlington, which is just nearby, and I realized like maybe half of my elementary school teachers were black women, way back, like in the 70s, 80s. and I don't really have very clear memories, but I remember they were very firm, very strong, not afraid to speak out. I remember being given a note and saying, take this note to this classroom, and it was written in cursive, and I started to walk off and start to read it, and then the teacher said, I didn't ask you to read that. And I said, wow, okay. So I just delivered the note, but just weird little memories like that. But I think as a parent now, probably there's a lot of kindness and love behind all of that. And I can't say how specifically that influenced me, but I'm sure it did somehow. So those are my memories.
Thank you so much for sharing. Who else?
It's just I born in Ethiopia, and I'm about to talk about this is my mom, Zadatin. I wrote her. It is me on the side that you see taking advice from her. One day she told me that I will never forget was when you live in this, when you lead your life and approach a man or a woman that bully you, stay away from them right away. If you stay, they will disrespect you first, and then the next day, if you go again, they will insult you. And then after they insult you, if you go back again, they will beat you up. And if you go back again, they might end up killing you. So I stay from places where I see people bullying me or trying to hustle me, or just I don't waste a minute. I just move on, move out of that place. That's what it is. That's the advice I took.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing. My mother used to say, like, if you got beaten in school and you don't hit them back, you're going to come home and I am going to hit you. So be awake.
So I'm embarrassed of my pictures, but there are several pictures, and the person is my mother. She passed away 19 years ago. And there's several memories. I've been walking around with a camera trying to fake like I'm a photographer because of my mother influence. So the first thing is a camera, right? And this is before digital, we didn't just email pictures to people. Back in those days, she would take a picture of someone, and she would hold it in her in her person, and then she'd be like, we're going over here, and then it'll be a whole year later, and then she would give the person the picture, right? And it seems like that built like some kind of community around pictures, and today pictures are so digital, so you just email it to someone, or I can just send it to you, text you a picture. But back in those days, she would and at one time she even had in our house, she developed pictures, but she would be like, oh, Abel, I'm gonna see Abel tomorrow, or and then she'll hand Abel the picture, and the picture might be from a year, 2-3 years ago. So that's one of the memories, is how she held pictures, and how pictures, we go through her pictures, and she had pictures of a lot of well-known people, like Dr. Clark, people like that, and she even have a picture of Asada when she went to Cuba. So those are the pictures that we still have in our home, right? And I took another one is, you know, my youngest daughter is 19, and she was like 2 months old when my mother passed away. So this is a picture of my mother driving them, you know, on a road trip, you know, a fake road trip, you know, because she never got the chance to experience that. So yeah. And the last one is she used to collect turtles, and this is a fake turtle. This is a whack turtle, but you know, she used to collect turtles and no, fake turtles, like not real turtles, like fake turtles, you know. I think she said she had a turtle once, but yeah. So those are the memories of my mother. Yeah. So that's what I like to share. Her name is Beverly. Her name was Beverly. Yeah, and I'm getting emotional. So yeah.
That was really sweet. Thank you so much for sharing. Turtles has a religious meaning for me. So, turtles has a religious because Shango, he's represented by a turtle, and it's someone that it's a god that I really do like, believe, and pray for. So. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you.
No, you're good. This is a picture of a quilt, like a crochet we had when growing up. And drawing it, so it's a zigzag of orange and black. In drawing it, I got so tedious. I'm like, this is a lot of work. But my mom actually crocheted the whole thing, and we always had it. I think we still have it, but it's very old. It was also part of the collection. She had a green dress that she made for my sister, and I ended up wearing that she also crocheted. And I think that's something we had a lot of things that she made in our house. I don't know. So that was so much wealth. And then she also taught us a lot of how to do things, how to repurpose, how to imagine, and how to be not bound by financial status. She created the beauty that she wanted. And that's something I live by.
Oh, that is so nice. And it looks like workful. Yeah. So nice. So pretty.
So I decided to draw my mom. This is the picture that I sort of drew of her. And I drew gold hearts in her eyes because she really does have a heart of gold. And I'd say she taught me how to be as, compassionate as possible, especially in my teens where it was like a time, early teens where it was a time where, you might be wanting to be a little rebellious and things like that. And so I always appreciate that of her because she knows really deeply that you give someone something, they'll give you back double, or you'll get back double in some type of way, and you might not know how. And I decided to draw a palm tree and the sun. And I was gonna draw like an ocean behind her because she really loves the beach and she knows how to relax, She loves relaxing and she loves Florida and Puerto Rico. So I know that's a place where she really wants to be, So that's why.
Are you the fruit that
Oh, thank you so much. It was so sweet.
Well, this is a timely exercise because I've been thinking about my mother lately. And so.
You are experienced.
No. But you brought it out of me because I used to draw and paint and create a lot. So she was a very beautiful woman. And I miss her dearly. Because what she taught me is to be a strong woman. That's what she taught me. How to stand up for myself. She's a very strong disciplinarian, very traditional person. And she was also very fair. She was a nurse for 40-something years. And she was a representative of one of the largest unions in Trinidad and in New York. And she was a leader. She was a leader, but a very humble one, because she won so many awards and things, but she never hung them up in the house. It's only after putting her things away that we saw all the awards and letters and things that she received for, you know, for her achievements. So those things didn't particularly matter to her. I believe what mattered to her was, you know, being of service and helping people. And when she retired, she helped train nurses in Tobago for the island's first nursing home, you know. So to me, she was very strict, especially with me. And I didn't like her very much for that, because my brothers could get away with everything. But I was the only girl, so I could understand now. Back then, I couldn't really understand. But, yeah, she was a very, very disciplined person. So, yeah, I was thinking about my mother recently, so.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing. And you are a humble person yourself, because she sat here and she whispered like, I don't know how to draw. I can do this. And I was like, okay, you can write if you feel more comfortable. And then you gave us a masterpiece. Thank you.
So this is my picture. I was thinking of like my 21st birthday, which was my last birthday, or no, I'm 22 now. Anyways, but I spent it in Asmara, Ertra, where I'm from, and it was my first time going back since like I was little. And I spent it in this woman's house. Her name is Mama Gade Sant Antonio, or that's what her space is called. And in the capital city, like Asmara, she has this home that's really like a museum. She's like a collector of so much artifact. And it's actually where my parents got married. And she heard that my mother was back, and she cooked like such a big meal and invited so many of our relatives. And I was just walking around like her home, which is also this restaurant, which is also like big congregation place for like every subject matter ever. And she had so much drawings and paintings, and I was just trying to remember like all the different kind of hairstyles. Like I was seeing of Eritrean women and eyes, and it was just really powerful to know that she had kept that place, and that even though she didn't know me, like I wasn't born when my parents got married or whatever, like she still did so much for that day. And also I remember she was trying to get me drunk because she thought I was too serious. And when my mom like wasn't looking, she would feed me like so much areki. So I started off drawing like a bottle. And then, you know, if the areki was like finished by someone else, like she would get me to drink like suwa. It's like a different kind of, yeah. So, and I remember when my mom realized, she was like, you're going to be seeing stars. And so I just started drawing stars because I was seeing stars at the end of the night. But this old woman got me so drunk. And I actually heard about her the other day. And so she's really been on my mind and spirit. But her name is Mama Gade. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, you guys, for sharing. This was very special. My drawing is this one. And this is my sister, and that's me. And this was our last Christmas together. We went to Bahia. There is my mother's hometown to spend with our family. And I always get a little bit emotional talking about my sister because, while growing up, we were like really poor. And so my mother had to work and she didn't have like a babysitter. So I was always with my sister, was like a child herself. And she always take like good care of me. And people say that it takes a village to raise a child. But for me to be here, it took my sister. So my sister is my village. And thank you. And I love her just so much. But the point with this activity was for us to get in touch with our creativity. That's why we were in quiet, like in silence. Because I feel like with social media and scrolling all the time, and we tend to get like overstimulated. And sometimes it's be nice to be like with ourselves and with our brothers and sisters and just get connected with our creativity. And we cannot see silence or see being quiet as something odd. Like, it's important for us and for our thinking. And also because I always think that it's really interesting doing this type of activity because we get out of capitalism logical that always describe us do our labor. So usually, me presenting myself, I present myself as a researcher, but I could have presented myself as a baby sister because I'm too proud of that. And I feel like in biographies, we are always like talking about the works that someone does. And when Beatriz Nascimento's daughter said like, I first knew her as my mother, that is too powerful. And seeing you guys like describe those women, like I don't know what they did for a living, and that's amazing because I get to know them as a person. And so that was like really, really interesting and really beautiful as well. And now I think it's time to Beatriz to participate. So I will suggest a collaborative reading, if that's okay. So I start to read, and I'm going to pass the book and the microphone so you guys continue to read, because Beatriz has like a powerful text about missing her grandmother. And so I will start to read. The first great loss, Grandma's death. Even today, I am appalled and perplexed in front of that. I cannot cry. I do not know if I feel sadness, like when I learned that Grandma died. Her death created a great silence inside me, as if it was me who had died. I waited for it over the long months that preceded. I wanted to book from her chest. Afterward, I always believed my education to be incomplete for not having read that book again, for not having seen it again. I dream that what I write will one day be the reconstitution of that beautiful story of people and palm trees, perhaps the story of my grandparents in the yearned for Sergipe.
Grandma and the book, My Two Aches. Right now I have two joys, one that is in the past, the other that I may have in the future. How am I to write a book if there are so many rules? I would like to write about warriors and palm trees, but they demand a thesis from me, a truth to be defended. how to defend a truth. It is or it is not. And the truth is that I am a black girl from Sara, moved by my many transmigrations, so many uprootings. I am always seeking an underground territory, a Quilombo, where I know some ancestor of mine lived. That is a truth. I must be descended from them. If not, how could I explain all of my involvement, all these memories, all these dreams, all of this desire to say, he existed, and he existed like this. This is an imagined truth. It's a sublime truth because it goes beyond my common condition to be a descendant of the Quilombos of Sara P. is to feel the tragic dimension of the loss of land, while at the same time living surrounded by that land in search of the point where this story was broken. To which he am I referring? I know it is the strong Bantu mass, the mass that bears all the aches of muscles punished by work, the aches of an individual communized by the weight of slavery, the aches of not having wanted to leave Africa, the aches of not being able to return. So flight and the dream of heroism, inevitable death, death as a return to your own humanity. He gave me his human saga to future generations, the myth of the hero of God.
Can you explain Quilombo to people who don't know?
Yeah, sure, I can
Give her the mic.
explain Quilombo. So the major research that Beatriz Nascimento does, it's about Quilombo. Quilombo were communities built for enslaved people on the colonial Brazil. So it's similar to Mariam's stories that you guys have here in the United States. So they used to run away of the slavery, and they built like a community. And she writes about the parallel of Quilombo back then and Quilombos right now. And she defines Quilombo as a community when we get together through your brothers and sisters to find yourself, to have somewhere that you can come back to. And a Quilombo as a space of community, of joy, of construction, and also of a safe space, you know?
I just want to add, the most successful Quilombo, or the most successful enslavement rebellion is Brazil. And that's the whole community of Africans run away to a place. It's a secret society. The word comes from Angola. The word comes from Africa. It means secret society. So you extricate yourself from slavery. You create a society, a world, a community that's spiritual, cultural, and resistance warfare. And Brazil is very rich in that. The most coherent, in my view, Marunaj, the most coherent Quilombo successfully happened in Brazil. In the U.S., it was suppressed, destroyed. The story is even still buried. In the Caribbean, it's all over the place. If you look at the Jamaica, Maroon Town, Maroon Cave, Maroon everything. So, but the U.S. is where the history is suppressed. I just wanted to add that.
Oh, yeah, that part is really important. Thank you for adding that, because Quilombos in Brazil, they thrived. I had a book club called Teresa de Benguela, and Teresa de Benguela was a Quilombola leader. She was a woman, and her Quilombo thrived for like 65 years. So was first Quilombo do Piolho because of her husband, but then he died, and she kept like she kept the Quilombo going, and Quilombo in Brazil were like a political thing. So for you to survive, you needed to have connections with the outside, because the colonial system knew that they could not defeat Quilombos. So there were like commercial exchanges and political talks and all of that with a black leadership. The Quilombos back then had also indigenous people, and also some white women. Was not like just like black people, but all people that suffered during this period in Brazil. So it was really powerful. The most known is Quilombo do Palmares. We even have a holiday for that, but we also have a holiday for Teresa de Benguela as well. And we don't have an image for her, but we used to use an image of a drawing of a black woman that was drawn by this French artist, because, but we don't have like a clear image of who she was. Her story was just so amazing that we got to know that she existed and she had like this thriving Quilombo. So.
Grandma's chest was thrown into the sea after she died. I felt the loss of her chest as the second loss of my beloved, the angel of infancy. I came into contact with the world through her, and everything had her scent. The smell of coffee that was the favorite of her drink, and that she and only she made. The taste became the smell. Everything I looked at with her, the banana tree, the papaya, the coconut palms, the pearls, the crabs smelled like sweet Medea. The smell that extended from the taste of her coffee. I wanted the book from her chest. The child bequest that I deny me, but by the brutality of adults. It is only a few years ago that I was able to ask Mom for it, and she said I threw it into the sea. I felt surprised, happy, I asked. But why into the sea? It had to be into the sea. The living being that made her perennial. One day I will drive to look at the book inside her chest. The book inside the chest. The book that I have to write. 2 more aches.
So you guys want to comment something about it? Just say something about it.
Is the book a real book, or like is it a metaphor? I don't know.
That she talks about her grandmother.
Yeah, the chest in the book.
It's a metaphor. Yeah. But this is a real book, so if you guys want to read it. So anyone has anything to say?
It's very powerful in describing the community and the heart of the grandmother. I know my own grandmother was very, I think grandmothers represent community and they hold up families. They're like the matriarchs, and then it extends out because the grandmothers make the village, they run everything. So I think it's nice to read that the grandmothers, especially, it's similar, even though that's Brazil, It sounds like Trinidad and Tobago to me. It sounds like here too. You know, so I appreciated that.
I have a question.
Sure.
You read it in English and Portuguese?
Yes. First in Portuguese.
Did you see, is it a different flow? Because this flow really well in English. How does it flow in Portuguese?
Also really well. Yeah. I really liked how this book was translated. Even the poems was like amazing. I mean, for me, it is more comfortable reading Portuguese because it's like my home language. But yeah, it was also amazing. I just would like to add, because you were saying that what's happening in Brazil when took you back to Trinidad and Tobago, and also here, there's a writer in Brazil, and her name is Conceição Evaristo, and she invented the term escrevivência, like writing, living thing, where she says that this writing what you live, it belongs to Black women, because if you're writing in Brazil, your sister in French will know exactly what you're talking about. And she feels like this escrevivência is something that belongs to us. She does like this beautiful parallel that she says like, when us Black women, we are writing, we talk for a whole community, but not like in a selfish, narcissistic way, but our mirror is like the ocean mirror that reflects all of our ancestors, and we are connected in that way. And I think that is really a beautiful word. I wouldn't know how to translate because it's this unique work. We don't have this word in Brazilian's dictionary because it's a new concept, and she has been starting to write about it. But when she does this parallel with Narcissus myth and with African religions, saying like it's not the same because my mirror reflects my ancestor and who I am and who we are, instead of only my image, and my image can represent my ancestors and also me and also everyone that is here. It's like a really beautiful concept, especially because I think last year I got to know Françoise Ega, and she's a Caribbean woman, but she lived in France, and she used to do like domestic labor and had like a really simple life. And one day in journal, she saw in the news that Carolina Maria de Jesus, that is a Brazilian writer, she was writing about living in the slums of São Paulo and struggle to write and to have access to education, to culture, and having hard access to food because was like extreme poverty. And this woman in French saw the news. She never got the chance to read the book, and she wrote a book herself with letters to Carolina, like, "Dear Carolina, today I had a rough day because, like you, I do not have time to read. I cannot access your book. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how you did it. And I also have like children. And I mean, you were writing without a pencil and without a pen. And I at least I have that. I have a pencil, I have paper, I have a pen. And it's just so hard for me. Like, how do you do it?" And she did like an entire book with letters for Carolina without never knowing her, without never knowing her book. But because that is how escrevivência works. Carolina can write in Brazil, and Françoise Degas knows exactly what she is talking about in French. So that's... Oh, the book of Carolina is the child... I don't know how to say it. Child of the Dark, yeah.
It's called Child of the Dark. It's a very, very important film, a book that came out of Brazil in 1960s, or it could be early, but I think 60s. And it's a book that came out of a black woman with 2 kids who lives in the favela in America, the ghetto, inner city. And for a living, she sold papers. She collects, she goes all over with her kids, collect newspapers, and then she sells the newspapers for recycling. That's how she feed her family. That's how she sustained her life. But every night she would write, she would like read something with big struggle, taught herself. She would read in the newspaper, for example, it says, America went to space, or the American astronaut story. And then she speaks about her reality and this reality of America. Very powerful, very ordinary woman, but making a commentary about current events from her perspective. And the book became smashing success throughout, even in America. We bought it, and I still have the copy in my house. And then that's all, the rest I don't want to tell you because it's depressing. But she unleashed this whole documentation and spoke for her class, for the class of poverty economically, in many ways, and also raising kids in that kind of context. How many mothers worry and think about and agonize where they're raising their kids?
Was
And
it written only in French and Portuguese and English? In 3 languages?
oh, actually, I think it's more. I don't have the list, but it was translated in more than 14 languages. She was huge, and the thing is she died poor, and her children are still poor, but she was poor, and but her work it still is like this huge success. But she got like a publisher, a male white publisher, that took her money. There's no other way to put that, because she died poor. And now her daughter, Maria Eunice, is trying to publish other unpublished works. And it took so long because the publisher still had like the copyrights of her work. And so there's... And she was like a multi-artist, like to make clothes for herself. She had this machine to make clothes. It was like a big conquer to her. And she also sings. She has songs, and everything was not with her kids. And Carolina, she died poor. They published her the book, this Child of the Dark. In Brazil is quarto de despejo, like room of bad things, like room of trash, something like that. That because she said like that she feels that Islams are this like of the forgotten people because the government didn't look for them. Actually, Carolina is really brave because although she did not have access to formal education, she's awoke. She knows who the president is. She knows the government, and she named them. Like, he is president, and he's thriving, while the Islams are like hungry and starving. And she named all of them. Like, me being poor is a result of your traveling. And she was just amazing. And so she got published, and she had a better life after that for a while. So her like biggest dreams was to get off of the Islams and have a more like dignity life for her and her children. And she keeps writing, but then people are not interested anymore because she's not writing about being starving or being poor. She's writing about having a nice house and education for her children. And so people do not want to read that, and her publisher is not interested in the other work she has to produce, because then it's not fun to publish a black woman who's not talking about being black and how it's hard and how she's miserable. And the copyrights were for a long time with the publisher, and so she died in a sad way.
And also, you know, you guys should know, when she wrote her first book, she didn't write it on a paper. She used the edge of the unwritten part of the newspaper,
That's
the white part. She wrote there and there and there every night, and then people discovered that she has this document piled up. And to me, I think people could have all they want. That you could have all the paper you want. If you don't write, what's the use of having many papers? And she proves you can write with the edge of the newspaper. That to me, that blew me. And in many ways, those of us who are making films from the UCLA group, she was, for me at least, I don't want to speak for everybody. For me, she said, you can make a movie, you don't have to beg white people and white producers and white Hollywood. You could do independent film. It suggests that. And by the way, the book my sister was reading from, for you, the film ones, the film folks, I would read it, although the translation is not like the rest of the book, but I worry about because film translation, she has on cinematic rhetoric. She wrote about Hollywood stereotype, but Brazilian Hollywood stereotype, where they depict black people from a white supremacist vocabulary. And though they were progressive white left-wing people in Brazil, they depicted black people in stereotype, which is a serious issue. It's not enough to be politically correct. You have to know the history of stereotype and depiction and the absence of multi-facet character development in script writing from the outset. So there's a chapter on cinema the sister wrote criticizing this left-wing Brazilian white filmmakers. And that to me is the first time, because a lot of people at UCLA when I was a student did not criticize left-wing white Brazilian Marxists. They made very politically powerful film, but they failed on race. They failed on the way they depicted black people. And so nobody took them. Even Brazilian students who were with us were scared to take on these white people, say, for us who, the stereotype of, driving Miss Daisy in America is the same. They're doing the same Brazilian version of it. So we knew there was a problem with it, but they were never criticized. So the first person I saw is, since I saw this book, I read it quickly because I was amazed how her take on stereotype is very, very advanced. And she criticized some of this, what they call the Cinema Nova movement, that Brazil is known for, Cinema Nova movement. And she just takes them on their failure. She acknowledges their politics, progressive politics, but she criticized them as inept people, unable to depict black people in movies in their fullest human dimension. And I think if I were you, those of you who are into film, I would buy that book because I don't know, sister over there, the third cinema debate. Third cinema debate. I don't know how many of the other of you know about it, but the third cinema debate comes out of Brazilian Cinema Nova, Globo Rocha, etc. These are the kind of filmmakers. But in America, it's sensationalized, very sensationalized, and people did not poke into how they depicted black people in Brazil. And then many crazy movies came out of Brazil that were never taken, including that inner city mad killing film of Irredeemable Negroes movie. You remember City something? City of God. Yeah, when I criticized that film in a film conference, I was attacked, literally. For me, I didn't see any difference from the ghetto movies that white folks in America made. Anyway, that's just to add that you guys need to get that book just for that chapter alone. Here.
Is it a translated book from Portuguese to English?
Yes, it was translated
So
by
you read it.
Beatriz.
You read it in
Sorry.
Portuguese, and then you read the English. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Do you find the soul, the spirit, the body in there, or you just it was translated word by word?
No. So in Brazil, we have two books of Beatriz Nascimento. It's a story reading by Black Hands and Black People by themselves. And in this book, they reunited works of both of them. So I did not, it's not like a untranslated book as if in Brazil we have this material organized that way. Because the thing is, Beatriz, she produced a lot of knowledge and a lot of research, but she never got the chance to get everything together to publish like a book or something. So all the publications happened after she died. In Brazil was by the National Library, if I'm not mistaken, and here in the United States was with her daughter. So her daughter reunited the texts, and then the text is paper, poetry, and translated. And I think that it's a really good translation. I mean, I'm still more comfortable reading in Portuguese because for me it makes more sense. But I think that it is a really great one, and I can only imagine how hard it was, like, to translate it, because she has like she brings concepts that are very Brazilian and about Brazil's history and what she lived. Although she lived in the United States, she visited Angola, she visited Portugal, but it's really Brazilian. Actually, she defines herself as an Atlantic woman because Atlantic because of the sea, because she is from Brazil, but she has heritage in Europe and Africa, and all of those continents are bathed by the Atlantic Sea. So she says, like, I am Atlantic because she belongs to all of those areas, and she feels really proud of all of those heritage because all of those ancestors made her who she was. And
Also, the Quilombo concept, what I told you earlier, and she told you about it, that Quilombo, that enslaved people's settlement after rebellion and extrication of oneself from the plantation to the remote part of Brazil, you know, that story, she carries it. What fascinated me that I would, read in the book is towards the end, she's talking about Quilombo, the spirit of Quilombo, in different social construct. She does not leave it there in its exotic past. She brings it into contemporary favelas, ghettos, inner cities, and I haven't read that part, but that's the one I want to read because I want to see how she uses the Quilombo concept in those African people's settlement in the diaspora, the inner city, the ghettos, etc. So I was very much. She took it into at least almost 10 chapters. It's about Quilombo, this, Quilombo, this, Quilombo. It's an amazing connection she's making by the title I saw. I haven't read the stomach of it, but that's how I feel.
What was your connection to that book again?
oh, my connection is that so I got into college, a public college, and public colleges in Brazil, they are all very white. And the writers that I read in college, they were also white, talking about like white subjects. And so I felt very alone and very lost until like I got to know Beatriz, and I got to know Lélia Gonzalez, and I got to know other black women and also black men, because Abdias is amazing. They were doing research, like they were being like academic and black and talking to the people. And what fascinates me the most is because it's not hard to read them. Like, I don't need to keep reading and feeling like, was I alphabetized? Because I understand them. And there's this text about her, one of the first that I've read it, because I also was like drawn by the title that was From Quilombos to Favelas, because I grew up in a favela, that she says that we kept this ancestor technology of the memory. So we bring the concept from Africa, from Angola, what a Quilombo is. And this make us survive and resist doing in slavery. And then Brazil Colonia stopped being in the colonial system and turns itself into a republic. And then the slavery is gone, but these people are still marginalized. And once again, they use the technology of memory to survive. And it's something that it survived into those days. So it's really like, it took me out of like an academic limbo. I start to feel like I also belonged, that I was also capable of producing knowledge. So that was the connection.
I want to add something in terms of you guys. I'm sure you don't know there was a very important America in its desperate time during the civil rights movement. They were writing a lot. They were making a lot of news documentary film about Brazil, and what they surmised from Brazil or try to bring here is trying to say that Brazil has reached a non-racial planet. They give you example of vertically mobiled, successful black people like Pele, the football player, and then they say, he lives, I've seen a documentary, he lives in a white neighborhood, no problem. So what was happening was, in America, American liberal white people were using Brazil as an example of reform, when in fact Brazil was insidiously racist, because the Portuguese go into your central nervous system. The French and the Portuguese, if you look at the African colonialism, the French go straight to your brain. They make you sing their national antenna, the flag thing. They do many things to black people in Africa. Then you have the Lusoton, the Portuguese colonies. They too believe in assimilados. Assimilate, teach them how to talk, teach them the religion, be like us, and still be our slave and our concubine or our something. So the racism is more insidious. So I was very furious when I was a student, and I had to write a lot of people, in fact, papers on the issue of Brazilian mental enslavement. And it's the film, Sankofa came out of that research initially, because if you notice Sankofa, it's very Catholic oriented. When I showed the film in America, the Pentecostal or Protestant black people thought the priest was the father of Joe, because he says father, and they thought he's his father. So I had a lot of questions all over the state where the film showed. They would say to him, the priest is his father. No, in Catholic Church, you address the priest father. And so the whole thing was really one. I studied more Brazil, Cuba, and Louisiana to stage it, the Catholic texture. Because what is always undermined is that the Catholic Church, the Pope's Church, used to bless slave ships going to Africa to bring enslaved people and telling them, consider you're going to war for your mother country. And they will bless them with holy water before they went to transport. And the transportation of Africans towards Brazil is unbelievable, unbelievable. And what is very interesting is that the enslaved Africans in Brazil, day one, began the idea of not only running, but creating a settlement where they practiced all the prohibited musical, spiritual, cultural activities. That's what amazed me. And that's how I started to tap into the maroon issue that I'm still tangling with. From that, maroons of Zumbi, etc., in the Quilombo history, you learn so much about not just like put down of Nat Turner, putting down of Gabriel Prosser, the American Rebellion. But in Brazil, they were able to escape into the cockpits like Brazil, like Jamaica, in there and create a settlement of their own image, in their own image of their own memory. And that's like the very powerful part. But all that history was undermined with this idea of, there was a book called Neither Black Nor White. In other words, white people and black people in Brazil will create an unracial, non-color human beings. This was the very big philosophy. In the 1960s, Brazil was used to apply in the American context, and was just the desperate or fragility of white liberals trying to find, well, we can still, create living together without redressing the fundamental issues of not only economics, but people's spiritual, people's cultural, everything that they negated about black people in America was at stake. So to me, it's one country that I studied a lot. In fact, at one point, I met Brazilian filmmakers in Cuba, and I was to shoot the film in Brazil. There was a discussion. I was to shoot the film in Cuba. None of it happened, and in the end, we did it in Jamaica. But the idea was, Jamaica had Catholic accent initially before, when the Spanish had Jamaica, but then the Protestants, the British Anglo-Saxons, took it and made all the Catholic iconics into Anglo-Saxon Protestant symbols in Jamaica. So for me, I had to decorate so much of the setting from Protestant to Catholicism when I shot the film. So we had to do a lot of dressing of the setting. But the idea of Sankofa was Catholic-based.
What do you mean by technology of memory?
Oh, because we use the word technology, not like AI technology or cell phones technology, but as a technology that we use to survive. So memory is a technology. Quilombo is a technology. We kept our religions alive. It's a technology, all of that. So there's this ambiguous meaning for technology. So in Brazil, we do develop studies talking about our ancestors' technology, and it's majorly like memory, because most of our cultural thoughts and philosophies survived because of the oral thing. So it's a form of technology. Someone would like to add something?
I just want to say I've been thinking a lot about what you said, how the grandmother is like the matriarch who brings like the whole village and community together. Because that really made me think a lot about my childhood when I was 8 and before that. My grandmother was still alive on my dad's side. And when she was alive, everyone was together. Everyone could come together in the home, be sort of enlivened by the smell of food and boil sao cooking, and I really miss that. It's a memory that it's a lot of memories that I wish I could have back, or could relive. Going to my cousins or going to my grandma's house and seeing everybody there. And sort of like after that, after she passed back in 2016 of cancer, everyone totally went their separate ways. Fights over money started happening, anything you could imagine, And it's like the family, especially on that side, has just never been the same, unfortunately. But I think about that,
Thank you so much for sharing. When I was in a congress, I met a young lady named Fernanda, and she was doing a research about dance and the memories of the body. And for some reason, that research took her back to her grandmother's hometown, and she discovered that her mother was a quilombola. Her grandmother was a quilombola. And she told us that when she got into that village on that Quilombo, she was immediately recognized. Those people had never seen her, and she had never seen these people, but they looked at her and said, "Wow, you look exactly like your grandmother." And she said, like, was the first time that I felt like belonged to something. So I think that when I say that memory is a technology, it's because memory is this big. Like, they did not got the chance to keep in touch because of the lack of the technology, the lack of cell phones and phone numbers and emails and computers. But the memory worked as a technology, so they could like recognize each other.
So sisters up there, you want to add up the stuff? You heard for free, so you want to invest something, add something?
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. From what I picked up, I know what really touched me was about what was said about technologies of memory, Quilombo's being technologies of memories. And I feel like memory is so important, especially memories of where you come from, your family, ancestry, the people who raised you, the people who nurtured you and who loved you. And so like, and I hadn't thought of technology in a way that kind of that framework. Yeah, and I just thinking about like matriarchal figures. My grandmother was one who kept us all together. She nurtured, she cared for the community. She wrote letters for people who couldn't read. She did a lot. She was a missionary in a Pentecostal church. She was all the things. But anyways, yeah, I'm grateful for that. I'm glad from what I picked up. But yeah, ancestral memory just touches me, and I had never thought of it, honestly, until I have a Afro-Brazilian dance teacher who's like a master, Rosangela Silvestri, and she starts her class by making you be present in a moment and thinking of ancestral memory. Reach to your left, pull the memories, bring them to you. Reach to your right. That's such an amazing connection. Even one time she told us, when you're walking, you're not just stepping on the ground, you are walking in your ancestors' palms, right? So like, I feel like, so I'm grateful from what I've learned from, and I'm still learning, from Afro-Brazilian culture, Black Brazilian culture, because that connection is so important. And we can't forget it. And I feel like we have that connection here in America. Our history is a little different, but it's still there, you know? So, yeah.
I think the displacement, the war on black people, you know, from the snatching of the drum to, you know, the forbidden to practice one spiritual mindset. In America, the repression, you know, was seriously, you know, to me, I think the Portuguese in Brazil, they were outnumbered by Africans. It was like a whole lot of Africans were taken there, and they were outnumbered. And you know, in America, especially the Anglo-Saxons, you know, initially you find the Brazilian kind of residuals of the spiritual aspect of African people in Florida and Texas, Arizona, etc., before the Anglo-Saxons took it over. When it moved from Spanish to British, and then the British went full-fledged attack, because Africans, in remembering, immediately revolted. Even the uprisings that were put down in America, there was this spiritual practice. You know, if you take Nat Turner, his father was, when he disappeared at one time, he went to the Great Dismal Swamp where Africans lived there over 100 years as maroons, like in Brazil, in the Dismal Swamp that is bordering North Carolina and Virginia. It's the vast place. George Washington tried to smoke them out, couldn't. They came out after the Civil War. And people like Max Roach were born from this people, who's a drummer. And so, to me, in America, the war was much more offensive, much more strategic, and it was always decapitate the origin, decapitate Africa, decapitate any practice with Africa. In Brazil, it's a different dynamics, and also the tropical, the vastness of Brazil. Just going to Bahia, you look at the mountains, you feel like they're still there hiding. Nobody, maybe invading them. And so the geographical location is also a clue. And we were very agonized about this. Why was a lot of folks who came in the film school from Mississippi, from Ohio, they were interested in what went down and what became the most powerful erosion or erasive attack on black people. So to me, I think it's very interesting. You say you have a dance teacher from Brazil. It's very interesting now interfacing between this, the diaspora spiritual, situation is very good. I think, I don't know, have you been in Brazil?
I have.
Did you go to Bahia?
I did.
Sister, my wife and me went there. We knew that was an amazing place. Not Rio, I felt in Rio crazy. But you go to Bahia, then you see, oh my goodness, you don't have any history teacher to have history, you just know it. Yeah, especially those women who do contemplate. I mean, I myself, I'm not into spiritualism. I don't care about religion. That day when those women came towards me dancing, and towards my wife dancing, and all these men and women came, I got up and just went into their bosom and hugged. I never did that in my life. But it's just I was seizured, So I'm glad like this dance, and I hope, where's this dance place now? No, wait.
So the class, I have a dance teacher here. I have a dance teacher here. Her name is Beatriz Nascimento. She teaches Afro-Brazilian, so she teaches Monday at the Capoeira School on Sherman Avenue, not far from here. But the teacher, Rosângela Silvestre, she's from Salvador, so she teaches Orisha movement, Samba de Roda, maybe Samba de Caboclo, like Samba Afro, all these different styles. She comes to DC every June. Another Afro-Brazilian dancer here, Sonia Pessoa, hosts her every year, brings her drummer. She teaches dance 2-3 days in a row. You can even do a dance workshop. But for me, it's been life-changing. And I say that as I am Black American. I'm a Black Texan who grew up in a Pentecostal church who was told everything is wrong. However, the Pentecostal church was like a vessel of West African spirituality because of our history in this country. So like, as I learned about Brazil, it was like an unlocking for me. So like, I'm still learning, but it's been life-changing. Just feeling connected and grounded and understanding how important that is, right?
Can we have a workshop here with your, if you can talk to your teachers or what, if we can have a workshop here, we share everything on YouTube, what we do here.
Mm-hmm.
If you can, leave me your information.
Absolutely.
Thank you, my friend.
Absolutely. The teacher was here last night. She attended the workshop last night. So we will definitely make that connection happen. Yes.
Thank you so much. So let me check on the time we have. We still have time in case you guys want to comment on anything. Okay. Can you tell us your experience in Bahia? Yes. Oh.
I went to Bahia in 2001. I was in my junior year of college. It was my college did a study abroad. Our school hosted Portuguese classes, but we were in Curitiba in the south. That was very settled by Europeans, different vibe, German influences, Polish, all of that. But for my vacation, I went to Salvador, the Bahia, for 2 weeks. I was in Pelourinho, and it was amazing. I stayed in a hostel. We would see bands like Oludum and Ilayaye practice walking down the streets. We went to samba every night. I have a dance that me and my good friends still do to this day, 25 years. We saw people in Salvador like samba where you pass each other, like to the side. We still do it. We're like, and that's from our time in Salvador. I had never seen Black women drum at all, and I saw like a group, I think Dada, all Black women drumming, big sword dudes, different types of drumming. Like Pelourinho felt so alive, and that history felt real. And eating the food, eating moqueca, eating acarajé, like it was live. Like I felt like it was the best time of my life, and here I am 25 years later, still very connected to that and wanting to go further, like wanting to share it with my family, my friends. Like when I get a chance to do Afro-Brazilian dancing, it is so healing for me. I feel so alive. I feel so connected. I feel such a surge of gratitude, right? And I'm so grateful. And I'm still all the things. I'm still a Black girl from Texas, very proud. I'm still all those things, but I'm just so grateful that I get to partake in that. And that's just like, it's always there. You could just tap in. But anyways, for me, 2 weeks in Salvador, staying in a hostel with, I happened to be with all the Black students from my study abroad. And it changed my life, because here I am. I still speak a little Portuguese. I still dance. I want to start learning the drum. I was inspired by this book and these workshops to get back into studying, right? And like look deeper into the history, because I haven't studied the history since college when I was reading about Quilombos and Candomblé and different things. So, yeah. Houston. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We filmed there. We were doing a film on runaway Black people.
Oh, wow.
Houston, San Antonio.
Okay.
And then, Raggedville, Texas.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much.
It's so funny that you said that, because last year, my junior spring, I studied abroad in Brazil, and I was in Sao Paulo, and I remember we were doing, like, we always said that we were being homeschooled in Brazil whenever anyone was asking us, like, because we took Portuguese classes at PUC, but no one ever wanted to be there, because I was telling you, like, it's just a lot of rich white students, and I was coming from my liberal arts college, so I was like, how did I come to Brazil and land myself in a very similar situation to what I was trying to run away from? But I remember our program coordinators being like, just wait till you get to Bahia, just wait till you get to Bahia. And I'm living in this house with like 4 Black women. We're all trying to make sense of like Sao Paulo, this neighborhood that we're in. And we're counting the days till it's time to go to Bahia. And then it finally is, and we go, and we're all like, just, like, it's Bahia! And it was just so healing to be there, and especially to be by the water. We were in Salvador, and every morning, like, I would go and meditate by the water, and there was this one woman who was visiting. She was African American, and she was doing the same thing as me. And I remember, like, one day I just kind of approached her and was like, are you Brazilian? Like, do you speak Portuguese? Fala Português? It's not even still with me, but, And she was like, no, like, I just I just came because everyone told me to go to Bahia. I'm like here learning about just, I don't know, it was just crazy to see her and to see a lot of like black people in Bahia just like, you know, trying to heal themselves and doing meditations by the water and attending a lot of, you know, of these same rituals that me and my friends were attending. You know, we stopped going to our classes when we were in Bahia, and we were just like, you know, trying to get into every kind of worship like gathering that we could get into. And yeah, we protested when we had to leave. We were trying to pull our funds together, like maybe we can stay. We didn't have enough money to stay, but it really changed my life, and we still talk about it till this day. And I know it's just funny that you said junior year spring, because I'm like, yeah, that was me, you know, that was me.
Okay,
Yeah.
let me add, Alam, take the microphone. You were in Bayat, speak about it. Come on, no joke. Come, now it is he. Come.
I think
Okay, got him.
my comments would be adding sugar to honey. I feel like both of you guys said everything that I could say about Bahia, especially the going by the water and meditating. I wouldn't say I meditated, but I definitely cried at the water. And just seeing the vast ocean and, you know, understanding that voyage, understanding the pain, the tears, the blood, you know, coming into that port. That's what definitely hit me. I do have a question
To our sister
to
here.
our sister here. What I sensed in Brazil, and I may be wrong, please correct me if I am, is I also sensed white Brazil sort of trying to culturally steal what black Brazil has given to Brazil, similar to how white America always comes to the black community and tries to, you know, say, this is my house, this is my music, this is my style. I sensed that heavily in Brazil, and I'm not sure if I'm wrong because I'm sort of a guest in the country and I'm not 100%, you know, aware of the racial dynamics, but a white guy trying to teach me capoeira, excuse me, white folks doing samba, you know, trying to teach samba, it just felt very off.
Excuse me.
And I wanted to know what you think about that, and if that is a problem, how can we sort of protect and own the cultural legacy of black folks in Brazil? Because that's one thing that took me by surprise. I wouldn't say surprise, but made me very, you know, questioning of white Brazilians there.
Can I add something, my sister, before you answer? I would say this to you. I felt black Brazilians, for many, whatever reason, race text, tolerate white usurpation of things. In black America, there will be one brother, one sister who will take you off the stage. When you go and try it, I've seen it. We went to Ouagadougou in Burkina Faso. We had a conference, and a white guy got up and started to talk. I just took the microphone, started talking about African cinema. And a brother called Larry Clark brought him by the neck. None of the Africans did that. But the brother from here went on the stage, grabbed him by the neck, and took him off the stage. To me, this is my experience in America. There are black people I know that are completely irrational when it comes to this kind of transaction. They move on them. In Brazil, I felt tolerance, a lot of tolerance. Am I wrong?
Okay, so I will talk about my experience and about what I saw. First of all, that now it's fashionable to be poor. So the fashion field stole the identity of favela. And so in a lot of fashion magazine, you're going to see like the short shorts and the crop tops and the Brazilian flag and the Islams, because looking from outside, they are really beautiful at favela of Rocinha on Rio de Janeiro. They have like a drone where like famous people go there with security, and they sit on the laje, but they will call rooftop, but it's laje, and dressing as if they are from favelas and posting a picture and making money out of it. So now it's fashionable, and they have been stealing the aesthetics of favela. I don't know. We need to choose our battles, and I feel that in Brazil we cannot like fight over everything. Like, I don't see people who lives in favela having time to fight over this. You know, like they have children, they have a bad living situation, they need to eat. And so we are constantly choosing our battles, but we have already started to discuss about it, because that is reality. Like, and Lélia Gonzalez, she has a paper from it, because she says like she studied psychology, and she relates this, but she says that it's a aspect of cynicism, because you're saying that you admire this culture, but you are killing the people who made the culture. So people are posing in favelas, but last year, Rio de Janeiro lost 180 people during a shooting on one of the favelas, and the government there went on Instagram saying that he was really pleased of all the black people that he killed. And so it is a problematic, but as I said, like in Brazil, every 15 minutes a black man dies. So we are being killed. We cannot like struggle over who is like singing samba. It's not something that we have time to do. But yes, we have been talking about it, and the famous sambas in Brazil are being made for black people and from black people. And we started to talk, we called cultural appropriation. And we start those debates in schools, and in elementary schools, in high schools, in college. We start to get people, because braid was a thing, right? Like if you put on Google, like beautiful braids, you're going to see white braids. And if you put on Google, like ugly braids, you're going to see like black braids. And during a time, white women, they start using like black braids. And we are like, okay, so you are like getting our culture appropriate for people, and that's not okay. So we have those debates, but again, Brazil is like a continental country. So it's hard to speak of Brazil, because each state has its own thing. For example, South, they believe that they are like white. Like, why? And during a time, I think 2018, they want to be separated from the rest of Brazil and build a new country, because they couldn't relate to us. And there are black people on the South. So I think that there are like a lot of problematics there. I cannot speak for a continental country, but for what I know for, yes, it is a problem there, because white people want to take our culture, but it still like kill us. So there's that.
Okay, I just want to say, we got concluding it, but my sister Sara, thank you for coming through our spirit place here. We call this place, by the way, Liberated Territory. My wife and me intentionally built this place across from Howard University to infect young people with the books of their ancestors and film of their ancestors, etc. So for me, your spirit visiting us is very touching. That's why I canceled my class. They're here with you. To me, seriously, it was so precious. You went through, you came through here for us. But it shouldn't be, I still wish you could do the panel discussion we talked about in any book you want to raise, because people, I think, you know, especially the, you know, if we could do on the marronage, you know, it's so timely now, and you saw the film that I'm doing. It's the history of black people here is so rich. I'm not interested, but their resistance. That's the only thing I'm interested. Every film I have done in this country is about how black people resist. That's, to me, what fascinates me. Away from my own country, I don't care about the crazy part of black people in this hemisphere. I don't care about that. But the spiritual aspect of their spirit of resistance is what fascinates me. And the film that you saw just today, the part, it's been 30 years in the making. With the other film on Ethiopia, 30 years in the making. So for me, if you could do a panel, for us, we would be very happy, and you could invite your own guests, or you can also order a book in advance, etc. Because I think while you're here, we should take advantage of you. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you so much, guys. It's like really my pleasure, because I used to do this in Brazil, and then I came to do this in here, and I was feeling like really insecure because English is not my first language, and talking about Beatriz Nascimento can be hard because I'm not using my home language to read my Brazilian sister, and I felt just so welcoming, and everything has been so amazing, and have been like really nice to get into me, you guys. Like, you guys have been like teaching me so much, like offering me so much beyond what I have to give you guys. So thank you so much.
You guys heard it talk about Leila Gonzalez. 30, 40 years ago, maybe 30 or 40 years ago, she came to Howard, and when I was teaching there then, and my wife and me had taken her around, fed her Ethiopian food, and then I met her again. She came to the Pan-African Congress in Dakar. I showed her the picture with us. And that sister, her spirit is mind-boggling. When she came to Howard, her smile, her brilliance, her psychoanalysis, social psychoanalysis of race, and it's amazing. So for me, people pass through here. When Sankofa became so big here, a committee of Brazilians came, Afrocentric Brazilians, men and women came, and upstairs we met with them. They want to take Sankofa to Brazil. And we told them, if you would not be, because we don't believe black people are powerful enough to take our film to Brazil. It happened in South Africa because they had the money. In Brazil, this inner city black people that are Afrocentric don't have money. So we didn't know how to take them, but we sent a lot of videotape of Sankofa there with them. So to me, we have always been, people have gone through here. And, to me, especially the spiritually anchored Afro-Brazilians are an experience. Seriously, they're an experience. And I think it has a lot to do with, I've seen displaced Brazilians, cuckoo Brazilians in Rio, etc. But, what I met in Bahia, the spiritually anchored people, even the young ones are very, very like elders. They, the spirit possessed them, this thing amazing. So for me, in the future, I want you to really think of this when our sisters or brother, I don't know if you know the filmmaker, she went through here also. She's from Bahia. They have a women filmmakers group, and she had promised to come, but we've been waiting and waiting. She never came back. But if you know anybody coming this way, we are your contact, hopefully. Any cultural, because we're also expanding next door, so we'll have a bigger space, and a dance group could come. cultural people could come. We can sponsor, and just keep us in mind.